Yo, what's up guys? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to my first review. I'm Disasterisk. If you want to know more about me or the game that we're discussing, you can click the little link card at the top right of your screen. Have a little peep at my other channel, man. That's where I made my debut / my first Let's Play of this game that we're discussing right here. I'm only getting started though, so keep up with me by subscribing and let's get to know each other in the comment section, man. I want these reviews to be a little more interactive than other channels do. I'll be reviewing mostly older games, some that you may already know and love, and some that you may not have even heard of. So if you know the game that we're talking about today, let me know in the comments and let me know how you feel about it. Ayo, that was a song of the day. If you sub, you'll see more of that in the future. To make things a little more interactive, I just pick a random song from my music library and jam out for 2 cover seconds. And then I want to know what you guys think, so give me your rating for today's song out of 5. So without further ado, I've talked enough. Today's game is called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. If you're into really good RPGs, if you're into old school monsters, if you're into well-written stories and dialogue options that truly matter, then this is the game for you. Let me tell you about this badass game right here. This beauty was made in November 2004. So you would think that an older game might not be as good, or you might brush that off. That would be a huge mistake. Just look at the visuals alone on this game and tell me that it doesn't look better than some of the games that are out today in 2022. Game devs nowadays could definitely take a few notes from this game. It was made by Troika Games and Activision. The Vampire the Masquerade series is set in the world of darkness, a universe created by White Wolf, and Bloodlines is actually the second Vampire the Masquerade game. First was called Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, which was good in its own way. It had ups and downs, right? And they just don't have anything to do with each other story-wise. However, what they do have in common is that their stories are fantastic. The combat can definitely be frustrating in both. But today's focus is on Bloodlines, probably one of the most underrated, nearly perfect games I've ever played. Oh my god, that's fucked up. How did he know I was gonna get out right there? Let's start off by talking a little bit about the background, lore, and how this game starts you out. Now, they don't tell you this right off the bat, but you kind of have to learn these things as you progress, speaking with people, or reading up in a book, even online Googling or something, because the world of darkness is, like I said, it was a large universe beyond the vampire series even.
Those of you sitting in the first few rows will get wet.
So it does get a little religious here in the beginning. Like we're talking like Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, and wasn't there was a third son, wasn't there? Oh yeah, their third son, Seth. Oh my god, Seth. Anyway, so after Cain unalived Abel, God was like, what the fuck, bro, and put a curse on Cain? The vampire curse, right? Turned him into an immortal monster with superpowers. So I guess it's not like the worst curse in the world, but you are still a monster, you know, and you can't go into sunlight or see your own reflections. If you got something on your face, how are you gonna know? Man, God could be so cruel sometimes. So after years now of repopulating and new generations of vampires being born, we have all these new groups and divisions who have all these different opinions on how the vampire race should live out their lives. For example, we have the Camarilla. We're all about upholding the Masquerade, which is basically a group of rules for all monsters to live by, constructed to keep order and hide themselves from catching attention from the public eye. Basically, they don't want the smoke from the humans, even though we could probably just totally wipe them all out. But we can't do that because we need them for food. Look at me saying we. That's the thing about this game. It does a great job of immersing you to the point where you think you're a vampire now. Like when you see someone alone in the alley, oh boy, it's feeding time. Now we have the Anarchs. They don't like being bossed around, as you would imagine from the name Anarch. They seem to try and live their days as human-like as possible. They stay away from the vampire politicking when they can, and they hate the idea of following LaCroix and the Masquerade around. Fuck that, man. In their eyes, this is their town, and no one's gonna tell them what to do. Now we also got the Kuei-jin. That's a clan of Asian vampires who migrated to LA pretty recently, but man, they did stir up the pot quite a bit with their recent arrival. Most of the time they're hanging out in the Chinatown district, which is a extraordinarily wild place. This game has a ton of great locations that I'm going to make a video about in the future, but Chinatown specifically really had some memorable characters. And lastly in Bloodlines, we deal with the SotD clan. This is a group that's been established for a long time. They're composed of the quote-unquote bad guy vampires. Now, they got a very bad rep, and that's largely due to their savage nature. They mock the Masquerade and care less about humans, but they do have their code of rules that they live by to hold some sort of order amongst each other and stay strong. You know, they have their own motives and reasons for what they do, but they're pretty established, you know. And if you install the Clan Quest mod like I did, you can actually join up with SotD. Speaking of mods, the Unofficial Patch is almost a necessity when you're playing this game. The development was apparently rushed, and so the patch fixes a lot of bugs and other problems. So I highly recommend that one too. So the SotD can actually be pretty convincing in these crazy final nights. There's so much politics happening in town, and you're just getting pulled every which way, and there is no real correct faction. It's not black and white like that. Like, yes, at times you'll feel like a straight up asshole if you choose SotD, but you'll also feel the flip side, and you'll also feel why they do the things they do. The SotD storyline and the Clan Quest mod was so perfect. I loved it. It's definitely worth experiencing, maybe even on a second playthrough or something, unless you're a sick like me and ends up SotD during a blind playthrough. But, you know. At the start of the game, you're just minding your own business one night with some company over at your hotel room, and rudely, that company just starts biting your neck. Like, what the fuck? You start feeling really weird, and to make things worse, your door gets busted down by 3-4 dudes. They come right up in there and stab both of you in your heart with like wooden stakes, I think. So then next thing you know, you wake up. How the hell are you not dead? Your eyes focus and you find yourself tied up on a theater stage with strangers all around you. Man standing there named LaCroix. He's going on something about how the rules have been broken and the partner that you were with didn't ask permission before turning you, and so as a consequence he orders this behemoth ogre-looking dude to straight up execute your partner, like right in front of you. And then he starts to explain what he's going to do to you. We all assume it's going to be the same fate, but right then this Anarch in the crowd jumps up. His name is Nines, and he screams, "This is bullshit!" This may have just saved your life, because LaCroix spares you, and he tries to have you work for him instead. And that's where things begin. You need to find out firstly where you fit in the vampire politics, and you also need to find something else. You see, everyone in town, each faction, is freaking out these nights about some ancient sarcophagus that got dug up and transported into the museum downtown. Supposedly there's an ancient vampire in there, and many are concerned that if that dusty old vampire's power gets out, it could mean a lot of bad news for a lot of people. So, and also the Masquerade as a whole. So whoever you decide to roll with, you need to secure that sarcophagus, and along the way you meet some cool characters, and they either fuck with you or they don't, depending on the choices that you make. which is another way to encourage you to play multiple playthroughs so you can see other quests and discussions that you didn't even get to see the first time. Especially as a Malkavian. Those dudes are fucking crazy. Those dudes are fucking insane. There wasn't a character I didn't like for some reason or another. And even the villains you love to hate. Troika Activision did a perfect job with the character designs, like the voice acting, intriguing, funny dialogue, and as I mentioned before, the beautiful but sometimes like grotesque locations that you'll visit. I did it! Did you hear that? Ah, yes, you'll laugh, you'll cry, sometimes you'll shit your pants. Oh, hell no. Ah. There's a few places that are gonna freak you out. When I was young, I tried to play this game, and I never got past the Ocean House Hotel quest. It was way too scary. Even today, if you watch my Let's Play, I scream like a little punk. Funny enough, I wish I knew there was a console command for skipping this quest. This is the only quest that you can skip in the game. So they just knew what they were doing, man. They knew it may have been a little too much for some people. Or little kids like I was. In my opinion, they did a better job here in this one quest alone than some horror games do, period. Yeah, the hotel deserves its own video, honestly, and I plan to make a top 5 locations video one day, so I'm sure you'll see that one there. Hey, if you've played this before, let me know in the comments and what's your favorite location, and which faction you chose, and also why. I'd love to hear it. I'll be doing another playthrough one day too, because the replay value is so strong. I want to play a different clan and a different like side, because I was about the bad guy, quote quote bad guys, so I want to play a different faction. Maybe a new mod too, and it'll be a totally different, refreshing experience. I know it would be worth a second play. My first time I ever played was as a Nosferatu, because it looked fucking wild, but it was challenging then, because you can't let normal humans see you throughout the game as a Nosferatu.
Yeah, what'll it be? Lord! Oh, sweet Jesus!
It's a masquerade violation. It's a fun challenge, don't get me wrong, but it was too much for little baby Diz. Just like that goddamn hotel. The second time I ever played this was my Let's Play. I picked the almighty Tremere. They are blood mages that steal blood and use blood to annihilate people from far away. I also use ranged weapons, so I was just a menace from far away. Especially in the late half of the game, because you need to put a lot of skill points in before you start getting your good abilities and before you start actually making a difference with your ranged weapons. At first, you can't shoot shit in the beginning of the game. Then by the end, you're OP. So then when I do my third playthrough, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a whack job Malkavian that everyone's afraid of, but actually I'm a good guy. It's just kind of fucked in the head. That is until I'm crossed, and then it's melee time. Melee is strong from the beginning of the game, and then you only get stronger by the end. So I'm expecting to chop some motherfucker in half with an axe or a katana or something. I could talk about this game forever, and I don't want to spoil anything, so if you want to see more, go ahead and check out my Let's Play or subscribe and stay tuned, because I will be making some more videos about this in the future for sure. And do not forget to leave your comments down below too, because I want to tally those up and make polls and tier lists in the future with the data that you guys send me. So with all that being said, I obviously highly recommend this one. Got the old Disasterisk stamp of approval, and you know what? So do you. Appreciate the hell out of you if you're watching this video in particular, because this is my very first review I ever did, after the very first Let's Play I ever did, and it's gonna mean a lot to me if you watch either of my channels, and if you like and sub, it'll mean even more. Thank you guys, and if you grab this game, enjoy yourself, because I know I did.